Welcome to this deep dive. We're going to take a closer look at something that probably caught your eye if you follow the NBA playoffs.
Yes, specifically a moment from that Lakers versus Timberwolves game 2.
Exactly.
Right.
We're digging into a timeout called by Lakers coach J.J. Redick. We've got a Yardbarker article here that really lays out the scene and the fallout.
And some pretty interesting comments from LeBron James afterwards.
Right. So our mission really is to unpack this. Why was this timeout such a big deal? What does it tell us about, the team, the coaching, the pressure? We'll try and give you the full picture. Quick, but deep.
Sounds good. And the context is key here, right? The Lakers had just lost game 1 at home.
Oof. Yeah, that puts a ton of pressure on game 2 before heading off to Minnesota.
Yeah.
You don't want to go down 0-2 starting on the road.
Definitely not. So game 2 starts, and the Lakers actually look pretty good early on.
Yeah, the article mentions they built up a solid 15-point lead by halftime. Seemed like they were cruising.
But then the third quarter happened, and, well, that lead started to melt away pretty quickly, too.
Which sets the stage. With about 7.40 left in the third, the lead shrinking, J.J. Redick slams the brakes, calls a timeout.
And according to this Yardbarker piece, it wasn't exactly a calm huddle. It says he stormed onto the court, appearing to curse at his players.
Stormed onto the court. Wow. So real visible frustration, maybe. Anger?
Yeah, it paints a picture of raw emotion, like he felt things were slipping away and needed a, let's say, forceful intervention, urgency.
Okay, so you've got the coach visibly upset, maybe yelling. How did the team react? Sometimes that can backfire.
Right, it could. But here, the article says the Lakers actually responded by righting the ship.
Interesting. So it worked.
Seems like it. Whatever was set, whatever energy was brought into that huddle, it seemed to refocus them. They didn't fold.
They definitely didn't. They ended up winning the game 94-85, tied the series 1-1.
And holding Minnesota to just 85 points. The article notes that was a season low for the Timberwolves. That's pretty telling about their defense after that timeout.
No kidding. So win the game, tie the series, defense locks in. Naturally, after the game, the press wants to ask about that fiery timeout, especially LeBron James.
Of course. And LeBron, well, he's seen a thing or two in the playoffs. His take was pretty direct.
What did he say?
The article calls it a blunt admission. He basically said, we know JJ is going to spaz out from time to time. That's JJ.
Spaz out. Huh. That's surprisingly casual almost.
Yeah, like it's something they expect, or at least understand. It wasn't like, oh, the coach lost it. It was more, yep, that happens sometimes.
Which really makes you think, right? LeBron's played in, what, the most playoff games ever, like 289 or something crazy?
Yeah, unparalleled experience. So his reaction, the article calls it measured. He's not easily rattled, you'd assume.
Compared to Redick, who, okay, was a longtime player, played in over 100 playoff games himself.
Right, not inexperienced as a player.
But as a head coach, this was only his second playoff game leading the team.
Exactly. And the article throws in that interesting tidbit that Redick is only 6 months older than LeBron.
Whoa, really? That close in age?
Yep. But worlds apart in terms of experience in their current roles, superstar player versus rookie head coach, essentially.
That's a fascinating dynamic.
Yeah.
So you've got the relatively new coach feeling that immense pressure, maybe reacting with that raw emotion.
Well, the seasoned vet just kind of nods and says, yeah, that's JJ.
Did Redick say anything about it? Did he regret blowing up like that?
Doesn't sound like it. The article mentions he didn't express regret. He emphasized his goal was just to get the urgency button switched back on.
The urgency button. Okay. And I guess from his perspective, mission accomplished. They won.
Hard to argue with the result in this specific instance, yeah. The Lakers tightened up, got the W. LeBron himself had a good game, too. 21 points, 11 boards, 7 assists.
Solid numbers.
The article also mentions Luka Doncic leading scorers with 31 points, which that seems like an error in the source material, doesn't it? Luka wasn't in this game.
Yeah, good catch. Must be a mix-up in the reporting. Happens sometimes.
Yeah.
But focusing back on the Lakers.
Right. The core interaction here is Redick's outburst and the team's, particularly LeBron's, reaction.
So let's kind of tie this together. What's the main thing to pull from this? That timeout seems like a really pivotal moment.
Absolutely. Redick's passion, that intensity, it genuinely seemed to work as a wake-up call. They were fading, and boom, he injects this energy.
And LeBron's reaction, that's JJ. It suggests maybe this isn't totally out of the blue. Maybe it's part of how Redick coaches and how the team understands him.
Could be. It suggests a dynamic where maybe that level of emotional display is if not common, at least accepted or understood within their context. It wasn't necessarily seen as a negative breakdown.
Which brings up that bigger question about coaching styles, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Especially under playoff pressure.
Exactly. Does that fiery approach work best? Or is a calmer head always better? Redick went fiery here, and, well, it paid off in the short term.
But you got to wonder, like, does that work for every player or in every situation? Maybe some guys tune that out or worse, get rattled by it.
That's the million-dollar question in coaching, isn't it? Tailoring the approach. Redick's gamble, if you want to call it that, paid off this time.
So for you listening, what this boils down to is a glimpse into that playoff cauldron. You see the pressure, the different levels of experience clashing or maybe complementing each other.
Yeah, and how a single moment, a coach's decision fueled by emotion, can potentially swing a critical game.
The big takeaway seems to be Redick's passion play worked. It jolted the Lakers. And LeBron's almost nonchalant acceptance gives us a really interesting window into that specific coach-player relationship.
Right. It shows that what looks like just an angry outburst from the outside might actually be sort of baked into how this team operates under him. An understood tactic, maybe.
Okay, so let's leave you with something to think about. Considering this incident, how much do you think a coach's personality, whether they're fiery like Redick seemed here, or more stoic and analytical, impacts a team when the stakes are highest?
And maybe think about what this tells us about leadership in general, that balance between, experience and raw emotion. How does that play out, not just on a basketball court, but maybe in workplaces or anywhere leadership matters?
Definitely something to chew on. Thanks for diving deep with us today.